Hello, everybody, and welcome to another session of our Becoming series. This is where we come together to learn about careers in energy efficiency. I'm going to, just chit chat for a few minutes while we let folks join. I see that we've got a lot of people joining the call, which is awesome. Definitely an exciting topic tonight. Lots of people interested in the field, in energy, in becoming an energy analyst, and in hearing Thivya's story. So that's awesome. So I'll just, we'll do the awkward moment of waiting while Zoom lets everybody into the call. I want to, at the very beginning, make sure that we take a moment to thank the sponsors who make this series possible, and that's Natural Resources Canada and Electricity Human Resources Canada. Both sponsors are really key in growing the Canadian energy efficiency workforce, and it wouldn't be possible for us to do this without them. So huge thank you to them. The Becoming series is where we get to meet leaders in the sector. We hear their story of how they got started in their work, what skills are important for their role, and any advice that they have for folks who are looking to follow in their footsteps. And so this month we're here with Thivya Viswanathan to learn about becoming an energy analyst. We've got a lot to learn from her, but before we dive into things, there are a few things I want to take care of. First, let's take a quick second to stretch. I know for a lot of us, it's the end of the day, or maybe it's right around lunchtime, or you're just your afternoon, and you might have been at your computer all day already. So feel free to take a moment, do what you need to do to come back settled. If you want to grab a glass of water or eat a meal during the call, totally encourage you to do that. We also want to start this event with a land acknowledgement. It's really important that land acknowledgements are done with intention. We do them to position ourselves and to provide a meaningful and thankful acknowledgement to the Inuit, First Nations, and Métis communities whose land we occupy. I acknowledge that I currently live, gather, work, and organize on the traditional and unceded territories of the Algonquin Nation. I also acknowledge how I, as a settler, still benefit from the systems of injustice that Canada upholds. Please feel encouraged to share your own thoughts and land acknowledgements in the chat, whatever comes to mind for you. It's important that we position ourselves before these types of events. We will be recording tonight's event, so you'll be able to go back and review anything that you miss. We have a hard cutoff time at 5:45 Eastern, so if you have questions, make sure you're putting them in the Q&A throughout the presentation so I can get to them before we hit that cutoff time. You're also welcome during the Q&A period to raise your virtual hand, and I can allow you to unmute yourself and you can ask your question directly. No need to be shy. And we do save all of our question periods for the end. So Thivya will present and then we'll go to the questions. So this week's speaker, as I've said, is Thivya Viswanathan. Thivya is an energy management professional specializing in commercial tourism and hospitality facilities. She holds a master's degree in clean energy engineering from UBC and now works as an energy analyst at the Thompson Okanagan Tourism Association. She is also a trained climate reality leader, a lead green associate, and has recently passed the certified energy manager exam. So congratulations, super exciting. So if you're thinking about going for any of those certifications, she's a great resource and ask lots of questions. And so with that, Thivya, I will pass it to you.
Thanks, Kristen. Hi, everyone. It's really nice to virtually meet you all today. As Kristen mentioned, I'm Thivya Viswanathan. I'm currently with the Thompson Okanagan Tourism Association as their energy analyst. And before going into the presentation, I would like to take this opportunity to thank Efficiency Canada for providing me this opportunity again to share my career story with you all. So a little bit of background about me. So I have my master's in clean energy engineering and my bachelor's in electrical and electronics engineering. And I'm also a lead green associate, an energy manager in training, and a registered engineer in training with engineers and geoscientists in British Columbia. Today, I'd like to share with you all about my career story of how I transitioned my career from being a software engineer to an energy analyst. So I completed my bachelor's in electrical and electronics engineering in 2016 in India. During my undergrad, I was very much interested in programming and coding. So I took up a job as a software engineer at a software firm back in India. So major portion of my job there involved writing queries to extract information from huge databases and developing web pages for the clients. Even though these are some interesting areas to work on, a few years down the road, I really couldn't picture myself as a software engineer for the rest of my career. because I realized I wanted to do something different. I wanted a job where I could make a difference or contribute my part to make this world a better place. So I knew I've always been passionate about renewable energy technologies and energy conservation since my school days. And I started looking for courses that are aligned with those components. And luckily, I came across this course called Masters in Clean Energy Engineering from the University of British Columbia. I applied for that and I got admitted into that course and I moved to Canada. It was a big move for me. I completed that course once I came to Canada within a year. And after my graduation, I took up some additional training to upskill myself with courses like Energy Management Professional Training from the Canadian Institute for Energy Training. And I also passed my Lead Green Associate exam. I'll be speaking about a few of these credentials in one of my upcoming slides. After 4 months from the date when I completed my master's program, I was hired as an energy analyst with the Thompson Okanagan Tourism Association. So most of you might be wondering what does an energy analyst or an energy engineer do in a tourism association? Frankly speaking, energy efficiency is everywhere and we need it everywhere. So I work with tourism businesses in the Thompson Okanagan region of British Columbia and help them identify energy efficiency and conservation opportunities. And I help them understand how they have been consuming energy over years. And for interested businesses, I also help them fill and submit their rebate applications and help them measure their carbon footprint from their energy usage. So we are a not-for-profit organization based out in Kelowna, and we work with tourism businesses like wineries, hotels, restaurants, art galleries, museums. So I work with all kinds of these businesses that I have mentioned here. And I work with them in finding the energy efficiency opportunities for them. If you're a new graduate or if you're someone who is looking to transition to the energy efficiency sector, you might be wondering, what does an energy analyst do at work, or what does a day in the life of energy analyst might look like? So basically, it involves a lot of on-site energy assessments, and which it means you will be visiting the client's building on site, and you will be inspecting all their HVAC equipment, electrical and mechanical equipment, lighting systems, etc., and try to find out if there are any potential energy efficiency opportunities there. And there are also like different levels of ASHRAE energy audits that you might be required to do. So there are 3 levels. Level 1 audit is basically a walkthrough audit. So you'll basically do a walkthrough audit inside the client's facility, and you will try to identify the no cost or low cost energy saving opportunities there. And there is level 2 audit. It is basically built on the level 1 audit, and it will involve more detailed energy calculations and the financial feasibility analysis of the proposed energy efficiency measures. And the last one is the level 3 audit. It is built on level 2 and level 1, and it's more complicated than the level 2 audit. And it aims to identify the projects that have the greatest accuracy in terms of savings. So you might be required to do any of these 3 different levels of audits if you are an energy analyst. And you will also be required to gather energy bills from your clients, and will be asked to do energy analysis, which means basically looking at the energy bills and trying to identify if there are any anomalies or abnormalities in their energy usage, and providing guidance on correcting them. With the energy data you have gathered, you might also do some benchmarking with that. Benchmarking is usually when you compare facilities, electricity or gas intensity, or in the whole energy intensity with its own historical performance, or you can compare it with the intensity metric of similar buildings. For example, there is building A and it has an energy use intensity of 1.3 gigajoule per meter square, you can compare it with a similar building of the same size and of the same use. So that's what is called benchmarking. And as an energy analyst, you will also be required to prepare assessment reports, and these reports will contain all the energy efficiency and conservation opportunities that you have identified during those on-site audits. In terms of the analysis and benchmarking, the commonly used software or Red Screen, Energy Start Portfolio Manager, Excel. The Energy Start Portfolio Manager software is mostly used for benchmarking. If you are working with projects that involves feasibility analysis, then you will be required to use the Red Screen software. If you are a person who loves crunching numbers, playing with data and graphs, and loves finding the low-hanging energy efficiency opportunities, this might be, the energy analyst role might be a good fit for you. And in terms of the technical skills that is required for this job, you're expected to have a strong understanding of different building energy systems, like the heating, ventilation, and air conditioning systems, mechanical and electrical systems, lighting systems, etc. And you will also be expected to analyze the economical feasibility of different energy efficiency projects that you're proposing to your client, which means you will need to calculate the payback period, present value of the project you are proposing, or the return on investment. So you need to be strong in that area too. And you should also be good with data analysis and with a couple of benchmarking and energy management software like Portfolio Manager or Red Screen. And the other skill that they might expect is great report writing skills, because all those on-site assessments will lead to you preparing a report for the client. So you will need to have good report writing skills too. And in terms of the soft skills required, they are mostly the same as the other jobs, like being detail-oriented, creative thinking, etc. But the most important soft skill, at least in my opinion, is the ability to communicate the energy efficiency measures or the recommendations you have identified in a language that is understandable to your clients and stakeholders. That's one really important soft skill that will be required out of you. So that's everything about what does an energy analyst do at work. And there are also a lot of certifications available out there to help you stand out. For example, the Canadian Institute for Energy Training offers courses like Energy Management Professional 101, Certified Energy Manager, Certified Red Screen Expert, and more. If you are a new graduate from an energy efficiency program, or you are someone who is looking to transition into the energy efficiency sector from a different sector, I would definitely recommend taking the Energy Management Professional 101 course, because it covers the fundamentals of different building energy systems, and it's a great place to start. If you believe you are already strong with the fundamentals of energy systems, and if you would like to take a deeper dive, I would recommend the Certified Energy Manager course for you. So it's a 5-day workshop, and there will be an exam at the end of the 5th day or within 2 weeks of the completion of the 5-day workshop. Once you pass that exam, you will be designated as Certified Energy Manager. And one requirement for that is if you have 3 years of experience in the energy efficiency sector, then once you pass the exam, you will be designated with Certified Energy Manager. But you have less than 3 years of experience, you will be designated with the EMIT or Energy Manager in Training. And once you reach the 3 years of experience requirement, your designation will be kind of upgraded to the Certified Energy Manager from Energy Manager in Training designation. So that's really a great course, and the instructors are really great. They have more than 20+ years of experience in the energy efficiency sector. I would definitely recommend if you want to take a deeper dive into learning different kinds of energy systems available. And there's also I wouldn't call it a certification, but it's called a credential. So there is also a lead associate course you can take. So LEAD stands for Leadership in Environmental and Energy Design. So it's basically a rating system that is used for green buildings. And I believe the latest version of this rating system is version 4. Technically speaking, LEED is not a certification, as I said, because in LEED, buildings are only certified based on the requirements and the points they are able to achieve. For example, there are different levels of certification for a building, like certified silver, gold, platinum, and please bear in mind these are all applicable to buildings. On the other hand, individuals like us are accredited with credentials like LEED Green Associate, which is basically demonstrating knowledge in green building concepts and the ability to support others on LEED projects. So LEED Green Associate exam will basically assess your knowledge on different green building concepts such as energy efficiency, water efficiency, location and transportation, sustainability of the sites, and even materials and resources that go into the building during construction and operations phase. Recently, I've seen that employers have begun to quote LEED G as a nice to have thing in the job description for most of the energy analyst jobs. So it's an optional credential to take, but if you're interested in green buildings and if you want to explore more and if you want to stand out from the crowd, you can try taking this LEED GA exam. For more information, you can also check these websites, the CIET and the US Green Building Council's websites. And I'd be happy to chat with any of you if you need more information regarding these courses on where to register, how to prepare. I'll be happy to chat with you privately. So with that, I think we are at the end of the presentation. If you have any questions for me, I'd be happy to answer them. Thanks again.
Awesome. Thank you so much. It's really cool to hear about your experience in getting those certifications. I know it can be a bit intimidating for people, and so it's awesome to know that you'll be able to give some advice if anyone is looking to go down that route. And so we're now open to questions. So your two options, as I said, you can either raise your hand or submit your questions through the Q&A tool, which is at the bottom of your screen. So if you do raise your hand and I miss it, just definitely put your name in the chat. And we do have some questions that were submitted ahead of time. So we're going to start with those while everyone thinks through what they want to learn or hear. So what topics does someone need to be familiar with if they want to secure an entry-level energy analyst position? So what are the different areas that you need to be comfortable with?
Firstly, you need to be strong with the fundamentals of different building energy systems, like how does a boiler work, how does a heat pump work, and what are the possible energy efficiency and conservation opportunities in every that we can potentially identify in each building equipment. So those are the expectations out of an energy analyst for an entry-level position, at least.
Perfect, thank you. And there's a question here in the chat. Did you learn about ASHRAE audits while you were in school, or did you take additional courses to learn about those?
So I learned it during school. I haven't applied any of these ASHRAE audits during my job because we don't specifically follow any levels of ASHRAE audits at my job, but it's just for an additional information. I think you can visit their website and they will provide you, if you visit ASHRAE's website, they will provide you more information with what does each level of audit means and what are the requirements that you need to meet to complete each audit. I think it's more like a checklist for each level of audit, and you can see what you need to complete those different levels of audit.
Perfect, awesome. And then another question here in the chat. can you shed more light on the relationship between energy analysis and building analytics?
I personally think that these are like two different areas. It looks like they are the same, but they're kind of different, because I think when you talk about building analytics, it's mostly about analyzing the building as an entire structure. For example, analyzing the envelope, analyzing the glazing, and how it influences the energy efficiency in your buildings. So I think building analytics is mostly about that. But in terms of energy analysis, it's mostly about the energy consumption by the equipment. So it's very different from the building structure. So I think that's the major difference. I haven't had the chance to work on any building analytics projects, but I think that's what it's supposed to be.
Perfect, thank you. And from Kimia in the Q&A box, is there a specific ASHRAE training that you would recommend from them? I know I've looked at their catalog, they've got a lot of courses. Was there any that really stood out to you?
I'm not sure if there are any trainings available. There might be training available from Association of Energy Engineers. If you go to their websites, I haven't come across any ASHRAE specific training so far, but I can find something if they're available online and I can share it with you.
Awesome, sounds good. And so someone did ask in the chat about recording and getting a hold of the slides. So just so everybody knows, if anyone wasn't here at the beginning, the presentation is recorded. So it usually takes about a week, sometimes 2 weeks, and then you'll find the presentation recorded on our YouTube channel as well as on our Becoming page. So you can go back and review that there. And another question in the chat is, so what are some of the entry-level positions for an energy analytics role? So like, what are the different ways that you get into the field and some of the first positions that people get when they're trying to get into this sector?
So energy analyst itself is the entry-level position. So I don't think there are any other kinds of entry-level positions other than energy analyst. But I believe there might be some additional internship opportunities or co-op opportunities with some energy management companies or energy consulting companies. But everything has the title energy analyst. But once you get into the entry-level position and you gain 2 or 3 years of experience with that, you will be promoted to a senior energy analyst or an energy manager.
Perfect, awesome. And in the Q&A box, is there going to be any disadvantage to taking the Certified Energy Manager course without taking the Energy Management Professional course?
There won't be any difference, but I think the EMP or the Energy Management Professional course is much cheaper compared with the Certified Energy Manager course. But the Certified Energy Manager course like really will walk you through almost A to Z concepts of each and every building energy system. So if you're directly opting for Certified Energy Manager without taking the Energy Management Professional course, it shouldn't be a problem for you.
Perfect, thank you. You have lots and lots of questions today, so I'll keep them coming. So a question about the P.Eng. Is it possible, through doing work as an energy analyst or energy advisor, is it possible to get the P.Eng to demonstrate this experience that was gained?
I'm sorry, Kristen, can you repeat the question again?
Yeah, so I think they're asking, so Ram, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but outside of getting a bachelor's degree, can you, from having work experience as an energy analyst or energy advisor, can you get your P.Eng through that work experience, or do you need to go the route of having your bachelor's in engineering?
I think most engineers association requires a bachelor's degree to become an engineering training or a professional engineer. So I would recommend checking with your corresponding engineers association to double check that.
Perfect. Yeah, I think that makes sense. And then in the chat here, so in recent times, they've been seeing applications of data science to the energy management field. Their long-term goal is to become an energy analyst. Do you think that learning data science is a good place to start?
Data science, I think that's a very interesting question. So data science is like really vast, and you can take some skills that you have learned from data science and apply it to energy analysts and energy analysis, but learning data science is not mandatory.
Okay, so it's helpful, but it's not
Yeah.
going to prevent you from getting into the
Yeah.
field.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. And can you advise someone who has their certified energy manager and they have their lead GA, but they're still unemployed and they're interested in getting into a role as an energy analyst? Any tips for them? What might they be missing, or how can they start to find roles like yours?
I would say start building more connections, network with more people, learn from them. And I think since they all already have a certified energy manager credential and lead green associate credential, I think the only thing that might be lacking is networking. So network with more people, because you never know who might be able to call you for a job opportunity, right? So always try to build your network. And sometimes it takes time, for finding a job. So be patient. Meanwhile, try to upskill yourself with different online courses and don't ever give up.
It's the challenge of the job search, eh? You got to keep trucking along. And I'm going to ask my own question to follow up with that. Where would you recommend networking to meet people in this sector? Are there specific, events that you went to that were helpful, or organizations that you really enjoyed, connecting with people through?
So the first place to start is LinkedIn. So try searching in LinkedIn the designations involved in energy efficiency field, like senior energy analyst or energy manager. So picture yourself what you want to be in 5 years down the road, and put those designations in the LinkedIn, and like try to connect with those people and hear their career stories, and learn what they have done, what kind of certifications they have done, what kind of internships or co-op opportunities they have done. So that's one way to go about it. And Efficiency Canada has a lot of online events, I know. So you guys are organizing your Becoming series, and I think there's also a career hub coming up, if I'm not wrong. So there are a lot of networking opportunities that are available through Efficiency Canada too. So try to be active in LinkedIn, because it's the only professional platform where you can keep yourself updated with different kinds of energy efficiency related events that are happening.
Yeah, and I can definitely say, if I have occasionally gotten messages from people looking for career advice, and I'm always happy to get that message. I'm never, no one's going to be frustrated. The worst they might do is not answer, but they'll be happy to hear from you for the most part. And so another question, what would be some potential questions in the interview for an entry-level job?
So potential questions for interview?
Yeah, so when they're coming into the interview, it's tough to say, right? Because how many interviews you had personally, but from your experience, are there certain skills that you need to be, or certain questions you need to be ready to answer? Are they asking technical questions? What kinds of things should you do to get ready for an interview for this type of position?
Okay, so, very good question. So the type of questions really differ from role to role. For example, if it's an entry-level position, the questions might not be really technical, because people know that it's an entry-level position, and they know the candidates that might be applying for the job are new graduates, or maybe someone who's having a career transition. So for those entry-level jobs, the questions might be really focused on testing whether the candidate knows the basics of energy management systems, or the energy systems like HVAC or boilers. So if you're appearing for an interview for any entry-level job, be sure that you know the basics of the HVAC units or boilers or rooftop units, or what are the opportunities, energy efficiency opportunities out there. For example, if it's a lighting system, there are opportunities to retrofit it to LEDs, and there are opportunities to install variable speed drives to the motors to reduce the energy usage. So be strong in those areas. if it's a senior level role or an energy manager role, it might be most related to their experience, like what kind of projects they have worked with, what challenges they faced. So yeah, it really depends on the type of job you're interviewing for, and it also depends on the type of company. For example, I'm working with a not-for-profit organization, and the dynamics is different, and so their questions might be different from an engineering firm that is interviewing for an energy analyst job, right? So it also depends on like different factors, but it mainly depends on whether it's a senior level position or an entry level position. But in both cases, like be confident, be yourself, and rock the interview.
That's great advice. That's awesome. And another question from the same person, what's the difference between an energy analyst and an energy consultant? I know there's so many titles that are similar, but what would you say is the difference between those two?
I'm not really sure because I haven't met an energy consultant so far, but I believe it's most related to the complexity of projects, I would say. Yeah, I'm really not sure what an energy consultant might do, but I have shared with you guys what I do as an energy analyst. But I believe like the energy consultant job is like much more complicated than this one.
And I would totally jump in and help, but I'm not sure either. There's a lot of different titles that are energy blank, and there's just very subtle differences between them. So, but yeah, great answer. You know what an energy analyst does, and then the consultant.
Yeah, and I also think an energy consultant might not necessarily need to focus on energy efficiency projects. He or she can also provide consultation on renewable energy projects or stuff like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then another question in our Q&A box here is, how do the certifications that you have compare with another one of those similar title questions, compare with becoming an energy auditor, which is the title that's required for the federal retrofit grants? So I think another question, how does an energy analyst role compare with the energy auditor role?
Okay, so I think the energy auditor role is mostly for residential buildings, as far as my knowledge is concerned. But if you're an energy analyst, it doesn't restrict you to a single sector. I would say you can do audits for residential buildings, you can do audits for commercial or industrial buildings. So it doesn't restrict yourself into a single sector. For example, at my work, there were cases where I had to do energy assessments for bed and breakfast businesses. So there's much more liberty when you are an energy analyst, because it doesn't restrict you into just one sector. But if you're an energy auditor, I think you will be doing audits only for residential buildings.
Awesome, thank you. And so I think that's all that I see in the Q&A in the chat for now. I do have one question of my own that I'm curious about. So you made a big switch from software engineering into the energy analyst field. Did you find that switch, was it difficult to make? Did you find that there was some benefits to having that background and then moving into this field?
It was difficult because it was a big switch, because like both the sectors are not even close, tiny bit. So it was a big switch for me. But I was able to apply a lot of skills that I learned as a software engineer, especially most of the data analytics skills that I have now. I believe I have got that from those 2.5 years of experience that I got by working as a software engineer in that firm, because there I used to deal with a lot of databases and a lot of Excel formulae there to extract data from those databases. So I'm able to apply those things here at my present job. So if you're ever making a career transition and you know you are passionate about the new sector that you're entering into, don't think about or don't worry about your past experience. Like, just get into the new sector, get yourself upskilled with a lot of certifications, online courses, and you should be fine. It might be intimidating at the beginning, but once you start upskilling yourself and once you like check all those boxes for those certifications, and you will feel more confident. And there will obviously be going to be a couple of challenges when you're job hunting. If you're transitioning from a different sector, it might take a couple of months, but be patient. It might take some time. Meanwhile, keep upskilling yourself.
Awesome. Yeah, it definitely seems sometimes like the hardest part is just getting your foot in the door, and then from there you can start to.
Yeah, and especially like if you're transitioning into a new sector, don't restrict your options to just one single title. Just be open to all the options that flow through your door. Like once you gain that experience, the first 2 or 3 years of experience, you will be able to choose which specific path you want to take to. But I would strongly recommend don't restrict your options to a single title. Be open.
Yeah, it's great advice. And so some more questions in the chat here. And one's really relevant to what we were just talking about. Have you had any really challenging times while working as an energy analyst? And if so, what was it?
I think the most challenging part of being an energy analyst is selling that energy efficiency idea or the project to your client. And in my case, like I work with tourism businesses, and most of the times they're busy in their own world, taking care of their day-to-day operations. And if I'm about to pitch an idea or pitch an energy efficiency project to them, I really need to be quick. So you might be aware of something called elevator pitch. So you really need to be short and sweet about the idea you're pitching. You cannot call them and talk with them for 1 or 2 hours about the energy efficiency project. It needs to be like really short and really quick. So in those cases, it's really challenging because there might be a couple of opportunities and you need to like cover everything in a minute or so. In those cases, in my experience, I have seen that instead of like telling them, okay, here is this lighting retrofit project, and you will be able to save these many kilowatt hours of electricity if you do that. So instead of telling like that, if you rephrase that and put some dollars in there, like if you tell them, if you do this project, you will be able to save $1,000 per year, and your payback is like just like 6 months. And the lifetime savings of this project is $20,000. So if you try to throw some dollars there, like people get more curious and listen to you. So I always try to do that, especially while pitching my ideas to my stakeholders.
Yeah, it's such a great skill to have, to be able to get an idea across really concisely and get people excited about it. It can be tough. So that's awesome to hear that you've been able to figure some tricks out for that. And then our last question here from someone who sounds like they don't love coding. Does an energy analyst role include extensive coding?
No, not at all. So there might be chances that when you have to use some advanced mathematical functions in Excel sheets while cleaning up the data, the energy data that you have got, like VLOOKUP or pivot tables. But other than that, I haven't seen a single energy analyst who were coding or programming. So the role doesn't involve any coding or programming at all. But there might be some software related roles. For example, there might be an energy management software company that might be hiring for someone who should have an experience in the energy efficiency sector. There might be some overlaps there, but other than that, no coding at all. Don't worry.
Yeah, they'll be happy to hear that. Awesome. So that's all the questions we have. I know there was a ton of questions today. So Thivya, if you're comfortable to share your LinkedIn or your email in the chat, I think if anyone wants to follow up and get more details about anything that was discussed, then definitely feel free to do that. There were a few folks asking about the recording. So again, the recording will go up probably in a week or two, and you'll find it on our YouTube channel. That's for Efficiency Canada, or at the Becoming Series webpage, which I'll just put in the chat here. You can see lots of our past recordings there. And so with that, we are getting close to 5:45, so I'm gonna wrap things up. Thivya, thank you so much for taking the time to share your story. Thank you to everyone who joined us today. I know there's lots and lots of events that are competing for our attention, so really appreciate you taking the time to join us, to hear Thivya's story, to ask good questions. It's awesome. Be sure to join us next month as well. We're going to speak with Tyler Bryant about becoming a policy manager. So still in the energy efficiency world, he's managing a portfolio of policies that have had some big impacts in BC. And one final thank you to our sponsors, Natural Resources Canada and Electricity Human Resources Canada. With that, we are done for the day. So good night, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your evening, afternoon, or day.